All right, so we've been on quite a journey, haven't we? We've looked at these deep cracks in how we think about morality, about wealth, even about politics itself. But it turns out, underneath all of them, there's one more fracture, a deeper, more fundamental one. And this isn't just some dusty academic debate. No, this is about the very purpose of all of us living together in the first place.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it all comes down to this one question. What is it all for? Why do we even have government and society? Is it just a set of rules to keep us from crashing into each other? Or is it meant to be something more? Because, believe me, your answer to that question changes absolutely everything. So to find our first answer, let's rewind the clock, way back. We're going to ancient Greece, a place where politics had a really clear and frankly ambitious moral goal. For our first contender, the philosopher Aristotle, the whole point was pretty simple: to make good people. For Aristotle, there was no confusion about the purpose of the state, or the polis, as he called it. It wasn't just about managing an economy or, defending the borders. No, its true purpose was to shape good citizens. The law was supposed to be a teacher. The community itself was a kind of school for character, all of it designed to help people flourish and live a good life. Now, this whole idea rests on a concept that is absolutely crucial. It's called telos. It's a Greek word, and it just means the purpose, the end, or the essential nature of a thing. For Aristotle, everything has a telos. So to know if something is good, you have to first ask, what is it for? You want to know who should get the best flutes? Well, you have to figure out the telos of flute playing. And you see where this is going, right? To build a just society, you first have to figure out the telos of human life itself. Okay, now let's jump forward a couple of thousand years, because the modern answer to this question was born from a very different world, a world torn apart by centuries of brutal religious and moral conflict. Thinkers like John Rawls, who is a huge voice in modern liberalism, they looked at all this fighting and came to a totally different conclusion about what the state should be doing. And this quote right here, this is the heart of the modern shift. The basic idea is, look, we all disagree profoundly about what makes for a good life. In a world like that, the state can't, and it shouldn't, pick a side. So the framework of rights and fair procedures, what philosophers call the right, that has to come before any one person's vision of the good. So in short, state neutrality means it's not the government's job to make you a good person according to its own definition. Not at all. Its job is to create a fair playing field so that you can pursue your own idea of a good life, just as long as you respect everyone else's right to do the same thing. So how does this actually play out in the real world? This sounds kind of abstract. Well, let's take something like university admissions. On Team Aristotle, it's pretty simple. A university's telos is academic excellence, so justice means admitting the students who best honor and reward that virtue. But for the modern liberal view, things like being a genius or having a great family background, well, that's just moral luck. You didn't earn it. So a just procedure has to try and correct for that luck to make things truly fair for everyone. And boom, there it is, the fundamental clash. On one side, you've got a vision of politics as a shared project to build good character. And on the other, you have politics as a neutral referee, just trying to manage our disagreements. This is the great divide. And this brings us right to the core tension of this entire series. I mean, really, if we give up on that ancient project of forming character, can a society actually hold together with just rules and rights? Can a tree survive if you cut it off from its roots? Let's just step back for a second and look at the whole journey. It all started with the moral fracture. Remember that? We asked if morality was all about sticking to absolute principles, the Kant argued, or was it about getting the best consequences, like the utilitarian said? That was the first crack in the foundation. Then, from there, we dove into the distributive fracture. Rawls had us designing a society from behind a veil of ignorance, which led to a system designed to help the people at the bottom. But then Nozick jumped in and warned us that any pattern, no matter how good it sounds, ends up messing with our individual freedoms. That led us straight into the political fracture. Rawls was back, arguing for that neutral state that doesn't take sides on our moral debates. But Sandel pushed back, saying, hold on, is neutrality even possible? He argued that every law is pushing some vision of the good life, and a healthy democracy means we have to actually debate what that vision should be, out in the open. And now, we can finally see that all of those other fractures, they all rest on this one, the deepest one of all, the civilizational fracture. It's the ancient world's grand project to build a community around a shared idea of virtue, clashing with the modern world's project to build a community that can somehow survive deep, permanent disagreement. And man, this leaves us with a stark and pretty uncomfortable choice. I mean, think about it. If Aristotle is right, if politics really is about cultivating virtue, then our modern liberal societies start to feel, well, incomplete, kind of empty. But if modern liberalism is right, and the state absolutely must stay neutral, then Aristotle's vision starts to look really dangerous, like a recipe for oppression.
And so we end here, not with a neat and tidy answer, but with the question that I think defines our age. Do we build our society on a shared vision of the good life, or do we build it on a framework of neutral rights that lets 1,000 flowers bloom? This tension, it's not a problem we can solve. It just might be the permanent condition of modern justice.